Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's get started.
Straight from New York, yo, this handsome man,
You
yo.
are now tuned in to Aljo, the funk master. Watch your grill, you'll get knocked out cold fast. And talking shit, now we talking facts. Whether mount or off the back, you in trouble, came to burst your bubble. I don't shelter punches, they find home on your mind about a double. This the weekly scraps. You don't need a map, GPS, I'm right here to lead it that. The world doesn't know it needs, but I grow the seeds, planted fucking name and the fame. Only legacy remains. Remember the name, Aljamain Sterling.
It ain't safe,
Motherfuckers.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the weekly scraps. Yes, we have UFC 311. It is among us. We have two big title fights coming up. Of course, Islam Makhachev, the reigning defending champion, and of course, my good friend, the new champion of the bantamweight division, Merab the Machine. Super excited. And of course, we got Jake.
What up, gang?
Round of applause. I got you, Jake. I got you.
All right.
I'm fucking with you.
Hey, chill.
Big fights,
Don't go
man.
too crazy over there.
It's exciting times though, man. We got Jamal Hill too taking on Jiri. That's a big one. I remember that video from when Jiri was out in the snow. Let's just say the snow, mountain snow, and he was like, "I'm coming."
Yo,
And then
that,
Jamal said, "Where
that
you at
meme-
though?"
That fucking meme transcended MMA and got into the mainstream. It'd
Yeah.
be like when I see her for the first time after 2 weeks, I'm coming.
Yeah, that was a good one. But the way you at though that was hilarious. I was like, I didn't get it at first, and then because I don't follow a lot of the stuff as much as I used to when I was coming up in the game, and then I was like, I got to figure out what this means, and then I went down the rabbit hole, found Yuri's post, and I was like, connected the dots. It made sense. It was fun, We need a little fun in the sport, and Yuri's a good character, and of course,
I feel like. Speaking of fun, like this card is a great pay-per-view to kick off the year. This is a stacked fucking card.
we're about to get spoiled, I think.
Yeah, deadass. Isn't Izzy fighting what's his name later this month too?
Izzy's fighting Imavov, I think, next month in Perth. No, Saudi. He's fighting in Saudi.
Saudi. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if that was this month or next month, but that's just a fight night, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and of course, Izzy's training with the boy, the Reaper, Robert Whitaker. That's fire.
What do you think about that?
I think that's cool as shit. I'm a true Ronin, bro. I love cross training. I'll train with just about anybody. As long as we don't have a fight coming up, that's a little different. But I would train just about with anybody. Even if you're in my weight class, I would go train with you. Like right now, I think I would train with Yair Rodriguez. I think I would train with Brian Ortega again. I think I would train with Josh Emmett. Like, I don't know. I'm a little different. I think it just overall helps expand your skills. Unless you're uncomfortable in your own skin where you feel like you train with them, yeah, you're going to get a little bit of the inside scoop on what I do, and I'm going to get an inside scoop on what you do. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to elevate both of our games. So at the end, it'll be all like, yeah, at this point in my career, getting to the top, of course, is important still. But I'm also just a big fan of the sport. And when I'm done fighting, I'm going to still be training, still be traveling, going to different gyms, doing random meetups with fans, and hopefully do some training sessions, rolling, wrestling, whatever it is. It's just as long as it's good, not malicious, no one's getting hurt, I'm all for it.
Would you train with guys you've had heated rivalries with, like Jan, Cejudo?
I would train with Jan, but I feel like I have to be cautious because I feel like he might try to I know he trains hard, so I don't want to say it's that, but I feel like there might be a little maliciousness of almost feeling like he got me back kind of thing. But I would definitely train with him. I would train with Corey Sandhagen. Like I would train with these guys. I think I've trained with a solid amount of former opponents. I've trained with Cody Stamann. I've trained with Cody Gibson. Cody Garbrandt and I cross-trained. We didn't actually fight. Anybody else? I would train with
Max Holloway.
Cejudo. I would train with him.
Yeah.
I've trained with Max Holloway before in the past, twice, two different years. So, yeah, It just really depends. But I'm all for it.
I mean, do you want to get started with like breaking down this card?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So main event. I think we start with the main event. Arman Sarukian versus Islam Makhachev. I was just watching their fight back, their first fight. It was very close.
Fire.
A lot of people were, are saying he was 22 back then, and he's a lot older now. And I think that was his first fight, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
So that was his first fight. He was a co-main, I believe, in Russia against Islam Makhachev, and Khabib was apparently the guy who got Arman started in fighting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think Arman said that in the countdown. He was like I saw Khabib. He was such a badass, and it made me want to start fighting.
The guy comes from money. He doesn't even need to be doing this. So
I know, it's crazy. But he was a wrestler, I believe, like as a kid.
Yeah.
And then he saw Khabib, and he was like, "Yo, I have to do this," even though he's like a multimillionaire. And then his debut in the UFC, he had a really fast ascent as a pro, like a local pro, and then he got this shot against Islam, and he almost beat him at 22. So all that being said, if you're being 100% honest, do you think Arman is capable of beating Islam this time around?
I think Islam is the guy right now. Of course, he's the champ. He's got the belt, so of course he's the guy. But I think he's him. But I also think Arman is just as good as Islam, and I think the first fight showed that. He had one stumble, from what I remember, right? He only lost once in the UFC. I mean, outside of Islam, and that was to Gamrot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a close fight. I think it was a split, if I remember correctly. And the guy can wrestle his ass off. He has a pretty solid gas tank, and I think his striking overall, I think, is cleaner than Islam. Islam's got more of an awkward striking. It's effective. It does good damage. He's dropped guys before, put them out. But I will say, from a technical standpoint, like in terms of like the principal look and feel of a striking, I think Islam is just a little below Arman. And I think that could be the difference. But if I'm Islam, I'm looking to possibly take it back and test his grappling again, maybe get him tired, go back to father's plan all over again, and take away Arman's chances of winning with that. But I think Arman's got a really good chance of winning this. The first fight was so good, I was so close. I just don't see him making those same similar mistakes. Both of these guys are well improved since then. But you have to take into account the guy was 22 years young. And at that point, you're young, invincible. You don't know what you don't know. And you think you're him until you get humbled a little bit. And even with the little humbling that he got, it also leaves a seed in your head that I can be just as good. This guy barely beat me as per the judges, and he's now the current champ. Took out one of the most dominant champions in Charles Oliveira. And I know people are going to say, oh, he gets drops. At the end of the day, he's putting guys away. He's finishing them in the title fights. He's very dominant. So, dominant champ gets finished by Islam. So, you're looking at that. If I'm a young Islam now, older, more experienced, I think with those grappling exchanges, he's got to stay away from the trips. Can't let Islam trap his wrists against the cage where he's able to utilize those judo sweeps and things like that. I think if Arman could do that and keep the fight standing in space where he's not getting trapped or pushed back against the cage, and his cardio has to be on point. If it's not on point, I can see Islam slowly chipping away and weathering the storm. But I think early on, I think Arman's going to be in really good shape, who also beat Charles Oliveira. Probably not as dominantly as Islam did, right? But he beat him. He beat the guy. And I think that only adds to his experience. So for me, I think I'm not picking Arman to win, but I could see the upset. And for me, what he told Merab was everything. He thinks two Georgian guys are going to walk away with the belts, and him and Merab, and I'm all for it. So I like the NU and still. I'm
Wait, he
here for
said
that.
two Georgian guys?
He said something like that from like the mountains or something like that. I forgot the exact words, so the guys don't butcher me in the comments, please. I believe he's
Arman said that.
Arman, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he said something like that along those lines in the interview. I think ESPN posted it or somebody, Homo Fight, one of those IG pages. And I thought it was cool. So
I mean, you bring up the cardio of I think if anyone's gonna gas out, in my opinion, I think it's Islam. I think we've seen him gas out more times recently than or have trouble with the cardio. Like when the resistance hits, Poirier was really hard for him to take down. And he did submit Poirier later in the fight, but you could see Islam getting tired in that fight. You also saw him getting tired against Volk in their first fight. I don't know if we've seen like Arman have those, issues.
Yeah.
And he's had insane grappling wars recently. So I'm like, I feel like the impetus for cardio or the burden of cardio kind of lies on Islam, if anything.
I agree with that. I see your point on that. I guess the wrestling exchanges with him and Gamrot kind of still plays in my head. It looked like he kind of slowed down. Anytime Gamrot was able to get to his legs and tie him up, he was able to slow him down where he was able to slow the fight down. And for me, if someone could slow the fight down and take away your pacing, take away your scrambling ability, that changes a lot of things. And I think it showed, or at least it looked like that in the middle of the fight, like body language, the facial expressions. So if he doesn't get tired, I can see that. The burden of getting tired for the cardio would probably lie on Islam because we have seen him slow down. And that was with the Volk fight, the first one. And then with the Poirier fight, it looked like he was slowing down until Dustin got taken down with that one little leg sweep thing at the 5th round, and that was like pretty much the beginning of the end. But other than that, it did look like he wasn't the cardio machine of like a Merab or a Khabib or a Mighty Mouse. And let's be honest, 5-round fights, like for you to even be like that, that's not really a normal thing. Like you're fighting for 25 minutes. I don't think people understand what that's like. We get into street fights, it lasts all of 30 seconds, maybe a minute. And you're tired and sucking wind. So try doing that for 25 minutes against another trained pro. It's not that easy. It's hard. So who are you picking?
I mean, so I rewatched that fight, and then I watched the countdown. Both I just did right before now, and I was leaning toward Islam, but I honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, I really think Arman's gonna win. Like, I think it was a really close in their first fight, and he's only gotten better. He's had a lot of experience since then as well against other great grapplers. I think Arman is the best grappler that Islam will have ever fought to date. I think guys who are much lesser grapplers than Arman did pretty well against Islam in the grappling department. Dustin Poirier had a lot of success defending takedowns. Volk.
Okay, yeah.
Volk became a grappler in front of our eyes in the first fight against Islam.
Yeah, I was actually very impressed with that.
Yeah, and he would. So to me, that's like. I never thought Islam was the same caliber of grappler as Khabib, but you always make those comparisons, especially because they're from the same camp. That being said, because of all that, I feel like Arman's gonna, be quite the matchup for him in the grappling department. And like you said, I do think he's the better striker just by a little bit.
Yeah.
So as long as he's in good shape, I think he should be able to get it done. I think he's gonna pull off the upset.
I can see that. I would have liked to have seen Gamrot get a crack at Islam too, just because of how high level of a grappler he is. But fair play to Dan Hooker. He was able to get the win, kind of turn him back for now at least. So with that said, all respect to Islam, but I do feel, I do think there's going to be a passing of the torch on January 18th for the main event over to Arman. And I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think it's going to be a pretty close and very competitive fight. But for some reason, I feel like Arman's going to edge it out. That's just really, and it hasn't, please don't, you don't like Dagestani. It's not that. I'm giving you the reasons why I think the way I think. That's all I'm saying. Again, I think in a close competitive fight, I think Arman, in my opinion, may edge it out.
How do you see Arman getting it done?
I think by decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't really see him knocking him out. I mean, He did knock out Dariush, and then Islam knocked out Volk. I don't know. It's tough. I say by decision. I think whoever wins this is going to be by decision. I don't think Islam is going to submit Arman. I just can't see that.
I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see it. That would be crazy. Now if Islam does win, does he surpass Khabib as the greatest 155er ever?
I mean, what is that? 2 title defenses? He beat Charles. He defeated Volk, and then he rematched Volk on short notice. He beat Poirier. That's 3. And then if he beats this one, if he wins against Arman, that'd be 4 title defenses. So Volk, Poirier, Arman,
And Charles.
well, that was for the belt, but 4 title defenses. I think Khabib defended it 3 times.
Yeah.
Khabib beat
I think
our guy Al for the vacant. He fought Gaethje. That was his last fight. He fought Poirier and he fought Conor. So, yeah, he only had 3 defenses.
Yeah, I mean, but I think the chink in or the chip in like Islam's record as a title holder would be that he fought Volk, who's a lighter guy, twice. But
yeah, and I think there's an argument for that too. But I think if he beats Arman and then he wins one more, I think it'd be undeniable that he wouldn't be arguably the greatest lightweight of all time. I think it'd be hard to deny him that status.
I agree.
I don't
think,
know anybody else who's done that many times.
I think before Bilal too, like Islam definitely could have gone up and been a good contender for the welterweight belt too.
I mean, they can still fight.
He said he won't fight Bilal.
I'm just stirring the pot. Cook it up, baby.
So your final prediction is Arman by decision.
I think Arman by very close decision, as close as Mosar versus Sterling. I think it's gonna.
That's exactly how I think it's gonna go too. I think it's gonna be a similar fight to that actually.
That would be so fun. That would be
just
really
2 more
fun.
rounds.
I'm here for the scrambles. I want to see the scrambles, and I want to see the high level grappling, and of course high level striking as well. So I'm here for it all. But that would be fun to watch.
They're both very high level strikers as well. So yeah, it should be good everywhere. Moving on to the co-main, we got Merab versus Umar. That's a big one. How's Merab looking right now?
We just finished up training. I think Merab's looking on point, on fire right now. Had a nice little private session. Me, John Wood, Hussein, Shane Shapiro, Vato was down there. It was cool. Nice session in the garage. Got to go over some technical things. Just keep everything polished, nice and clean, going over the stuff that we want to make sure he gets done and the things to keep in mind, things that Umar does well, things that he does well. And I think those are all the things that are our keys to victory. And I think if we can keep the fight where we want it, Merab is going to shut a lot of people up and going to prove a lot of people right that he is who he says he is. And no disrespect to Umar, like by any means. Like for me, it just comes down to one guy has done the work. One guy is being propped up by the accolades of what his relative has done. You know what I mean? And I understand he's trying to carve out his own name in history, but facts are still a fact. The jury's still out on Umar. We don't really know if he's really that guy just yet. We know he's good. We know he can fight. We know he's dangerous on the ground if he gets to your back. And we know he's got dynamic striking. We know he's hard to hit cleanly. We do know he's been dropped before by a debut guy. We do know his striking. He's southpaw. He switches. He has a really good long front kick to the face. A nice question mark kick. I mean, how many of those strikes did he actually get off on Corey Sandhagen in rounds 1, 2, 3 before Sandhagen really started to slow down and get noticeably tired? So there's a lot of things we really paid attention to when we were breaking down the film. And without giving too much away, we know what his tools are. We made sure we gave Merab those looks. Put him in all those positions where Umar thrives in. And I think this is going to come down to pressure. I think Merab is going to put the pressure on him, and I think good things are going to happen. So I'm just excited for him to get his first defense, and against a very highly touted opponent, one that people are trying to dub the next king before he's actually proven anything yet. Um, but again, Umar's talented, so respect to him for that. But at the end of the day, I'm for my guy. You're for our guys, and that's what we do. And we made sure we put in some really good work. So I'm excited for this for Merab, and let's see what happens on January 18th.
I mean, it's pretty short notice for Merab. I feel like I was pretty shocked when he accepted the fight and that news came out. Because he for the longest time he was like holding out, but he finally accepted it. Do you think it was smart to take this fight? You don't have to answer this either. I put this in the notes, but so I figured you didn't have a problem with it. But
No, it's not neither if it's smart to take this fight or not. The only thing I don't like, I think the opponent in Umar is not the issue for me. Stylistically, that's not an issue whatsoever. I think Merab matches up very well with any of these guys in the bantamweight division. What I honestly had an issue with was the timing. That was it. I almost felt like it was like deja vu all over again. The good thing, though, Merab is not like me where he's not drinking, he's not out smoking, and he doesn't party like the way, like, I don't do drugs. I just drink alcohol, smoke a little herb, I do a little shroom, and I drink a little alcohol and some Funk Harbor. You know what I mean? So it takes time. He doesn't cut as much weight as I do. So he has a lot more things working in his favor, where him and Umar are on the same playing field in that regards. They both took it on the same amount of time notice. It's just he just had a fight, and Umar fought, I think, in August, right? August. So
yeah,
I just like when it's more fair when both guys have an equal amount of time to rest, so that there's no questions when the results are in. The same thing I said about Mosar. I don't want to try to make it to the fight unhealthy, and then I have excuses of. I don't want that. I want to be fair to my opponent. I want to be fair to the fans. And that's all I wanted for this. I had nothing to do with, he's ducking him. He's not fucking ducking him. He said he'll fight the guy multiple times. He asked to fight the guy. Before this fight was ever announced, he asked to fight Umar way back when, years ago, before Merab was even highly ranked. So who's ducking who? You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, no, it's not time to fight yet, brother. Let me get more experience first, and then when it's... So... You know what I mean? You got to call a spade a spade. So it is what it is. That's my only thing that I didn't like was the timing. I would have liked for this to have been in April, where Merab could finish his victory lap, Ramadan would be over, and Umar would have a proper time to prepare to, even February, before Ramadan starts. Merab was okay to go to Australia, he said. I think there was a thing like with the visa with Georgians and Australia, something like that. But he was willing to do that just so he had more time to kind of do the things that he wanted to do as a champ should be granted. I guarantee you, no, whatever. Not even gonna go down that rabbit hole. But I'm
gonna say this. I feel like when if God forbid if Umar does become champion, he's gonna be fighting once a year, like these other guys. I feel like there's like a privilege there, like that Merab's not getting by kind of being pressured to fight so soon. And on such short notice,
Yeah. But
So,
at least for this, they both took it on the same amount of time. I don't know if Umar had inside information if this fight was going to happen before it was. But Merab was already training. I was already training with him. I was already giving him looks of what it would already be, and so was his training partners, because we already knew the task at hand. That would probably be the next fight, whether it was after Ramadan or slightly before. Again, for me, it's just the timing. But it is what it is. The fight's less than a week away, so I hope the fans are excited. Merab has fought so many great challenges, and I'm just excited for the opportunity. And now Umar has a chance to show the world if he really is who he says he is. And again, I have no ill will about him. I've taken pictures with him, posted pictures with him. He's a cool dude. I've hung out with him in Abu Dhabi. Khabib as well. Not hanging out with him in Abu Dhabi, but, we went to a basketball game together. He was there. We took a picture together. That was back in like 2015, I think, or 2016, or something along those lines. But I like the Daggy guys. It's just you're fighting one of our guys now, and we'd be friends after this. Like right now, everything's just peaceful, cordial, and hopefully it stays like this the whole time. Everyone's been showing respect whenever I see him at the PI, and I can appreciate that. And I think the same thing from our team to theirs. And we're gonna have a good fight, and just excited to see how this one goes. And of course, I truly do believe Merab's gonna get it done.
Merab's fought some pretty solid grapplers. I mean, he fought Henry Cejudo not too long ago.
Olympic champ.
He had his way with Henry, who's an Olympic wrestler, gold medalist. But it feels for some reason like Umar's got the best MMA grappling prowess that Merab's gone up against. That's how it feels to me, at least.
You know who he trains with?
You.
Okay. And I think that alone for the fans, that's enough said. If you guys don't think Merab is going to be ready for these grappling exchanges, I mean, if Corey Sandhagen could get ready, a guy who's not coming from a grappling background at all, what do you think Merab is going to do? Like, you guys just don't know, man. You guys just don't know. Respectfully, you guys just don't know.
So, I think Steve must have wrote this. Can Merab take Umar down? Nah, I probably wrote that. Can Merab take Umar down?
Of course. Umar even said it. He said if he takes me down, he might take me down, but then what? What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? He can't control me. He can't submit me. He can't hold me down. And I'm just like, I think in the back of his mind, that's playing a little bit of a factor, and it's something that he's definitely concerned about. Again, people can say Umar's not like these other guys. Guess what? Merab is not like these other guys. A lot of these guys, they talk a lot of shit before the fight. Peter Yan, Merab is 0. He's 0. Who's 0 now? Who's 0 now? Then you have Henry Cejudo. What he say about him before the fight? He was comparing him to me and saying he's like, and even Mighty Mouse was trying to warn Henry that that's a tougher fight than the fight with me. And he thought it was the easier fight because he had no wrestling. He's like, he can't wrestle like Aljamain, whatever. Guys, there's a method to the madness, and you guys are gonna see in a few days again. And it's just gotta be smart, gotta be calculated, take our time. Of course, it's a street fight. It's a fight. Anything can happen. Not a street fight. It's not the Tyson versus DC. But anything can happen. But I do think the odds are in our favor for this one. We just gotta go out there and perform.
Final prediction for Merab versus Umar.
I mean, Merab by decision.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if it's gonna be a submission. I mean, he does have a couple crafty tricks, but Umar would have to put himself in a really bad spot for that to happen. I think he's good enough to not be there. But I think Merab by decision is the smartest and safest bet just by his resume and his track record. He outpaces guys severely, and I think that's his key to victory.
Hell yeah. Moving on, another huge fight that no one seems to be talking about, at least in my opinion. Jiri versus Jamal Hill.
Great fight.
Sick fight.
So many years in the making.
Jiri's on an interesting streak. He beat Rakic, but he's coming off a loss. And I feel like if Jiri loses to Jamal, in my opinion, it might be time to start calling him overhyped.
But is it really overhyped if you're losing to the best guys?
My thing is with Jiri, it's like he came up on a crazy run because of his like wild fighting style. Yep. But I think like when he does fight the top of the top, it doesn't really translate too well. Like when he fights guys in the top 3, 4, maybe 5, it's not that style's not working for him, and there's like maybe some fight IQ that's losing him some fights, in my opinion. He was a champion, but I feel like Jamal is like more polished, and he's smarter. He's got the bigger fight IQ.
Champ versus champ, former champ versus former champ. This is going to be a really good fight. I think the stand-up of Jamal is going to be a little bit cleaner. Obviously, he can't take any clean shots from Jiri because it's going to be super unorthodox. He really lunges in and tries to stab at his opponents. boom, boom, and he's that herky jerky, and then he's coming in throwing punches from all kinds of angles. So that's going to be tricky for Jamal, I think. But I think the cleaner shots when Jamal is able to get a beat on it, if he can parry and connect, I think that fight's as good as over. Jamal could crack. It's unfortunate because this fight with Alex Pereira, for me, Pereira is just one of those guys. If he touches your chin cleanly, you're probably going down. So it would have been interesting to see if Jamal was able to touch him cleanly first to see if it would have been the same. You know what I mean? But we'll maybe, at least for now, we won't get to see that. But with the win here, I think it puts him in a very good positioning to get back to a rematch situation with Alex Pereira if Alex is still the champ, if he's fighting Ankalaev next. So with that said, I think Jamal's the cleaner striker. I think he could beat Jiri on the ground with his grappling. I don't really know much about Yuri's grappling, but from what I've seen, I know who did he submit? Who did Jiri submit? Glover Teixeira?
Yeah, but that was even like.
That was ugly, but it worked. It worked.
I mean, I feel like.
That was a crazy fight.
I think, yeah, like I was expecting Jiri to smoke Glover, to be honest. Like just. Go ahead.
No, you finish your thought.
Just the way they're. I thought Glover was like, an older guy. Jiri was the younger, more athletic guy. And he was on this crazy hot streak. He's the more hyped guy. And then Glover, like, was this close. I think Glover was winning that fight.
Yes.
So, and then he made a critical error, and Jiri capitalized on it.
Yes.
And
that's why the fight's 25 minutes and not 10, not 5, not 15, not 20. Because at the end of the day, it only matters what happened in the end. And
I mean,
Jiri's got that. He's got the dog in him. I mean, we can't take that away from him. He's got the dog in him.
I'll be surprised, bro, if Jiri beats. I'm so high on Jamal. I think he's massively overlooked because of the Alex Pereira and like the way he's kind of gone about himself after that loss. But I think, and I don't have a problem with it. But I think the fans overlook him for that. I just think like
Jamal's living in the Aljamain Sterling clown era.
he's going through it, but
he's going through his own era right now.
And people love Jiri, bro.
Yeah, but he beats Jiri and he dominates and looks good doing it. It all will be forgotten. That's how the MMA game works with a lot of the fans. For whatever reason, they're unforgiving when it comes to what have you done for me lately. So he just needs to look good against Jiri. Jiri's a really nice guy. He's got a really nice team. I just think Jamal looks so much more polished against Glover Teixeira. You can't do MMA math. But in terms of Glover was actually, I don't say getting in that ass, but he's kind of getting in that ass of Jiri. So for Jiri to come back and win shows he's got a dog in him. He ain't going to quit. He's got that samurai spirit that he's always talking about and raving about. And Jamal, I think he's more of a technician. And I think if he gets to a spot where he can land a big shabaka, I think that fight's as good as over.
Yeah, I think Jamal Hill wins this one. You think Jamal wins?
I'm picking Jamal for this. Obviously, that's my guy, but I am picking him because of also his skill. I don't think it's just I'm picking him because you're my guy. Even if you are my guy, I always give the pros and cons of both sides and try to keep it as fair because I don't want this show to be like I'm just picking guys I like. I want to actually give reasoning. Even if I think the other guy has more tools and keys to victory, I'm going to still side with my guy because anything can happen in this sport. But I'm also going to lay out the paths to victory for the other guy who has the better skills to win, in my personal opinion. And on paper, I think on paper, Jamal Hill is the better guy. But Jiri has that it factor. He has that dog. He doesn't quit. You're going to have to put him to sleep if you want that guy to stop coming because he's coming. He's coming.
Definitely, I agree.
That's my 2 cents.
There's some more pretty big fights on the card. This card's pretty stacked. The next one I had was Beneil versus Moicano.
Yeah, I saw Dan Hooker. He had a really good take on this. He was saying he can't see how Moicano wins this fight. And Money Moicano has had a career resurgence, But we have to look at the ways he has been winning. He has gotten hurt a bit. The only one I don't think he really got hurt in was the BSD fight. Benice Saint Denis, right? That's how you say his name.
Benoit Saint Denis. Yeah.
Wow, Benice Saint Denis. Benoit
It's
Saint
okay.
Denis. Respect, guys, respect. And with that fight, that was the only one on this winning streak that I could say. And honestly, I've been saying this for a while. I had a lot of questions about BSD, and I know he's a marauder in the first round. But if you get past the first round, I just didn't really feel like he was as good as the hype was made out to be. I felt like he makes a lot of technical mistakes, and there's a lot of holes that could be capitalized. And it's not to beat him down or shit on him. These are just pointing out things that he can work on to get better as a mixed martial artist. With that said, Moicano comfortably won that fight. Not even like, if he can take you down and get to a top position, the difference is he's going against Beneil Dariush. Watch Beneil Dariush versus Gamrot. That is a grappler's delight, a really fun fight to watch. Him versus, I think, Diego Ferreira was a really good one, too. He's had some really good fights. He had a tough one against Arman. Arman came out, starched him early. And the question for me with both of these guys, I think Moicano's chin is suspect. I think Beneil Dariush's chin, respectfully, is also suspect to both these guys. So I think whoever can land the money shot first is going to win. I think both keys to victory is to get the takedown, get to a dominant position where you could do a lot of damage and make the fight easier as you could possibly make it. I think Beneil Dariush is the better striker. But again, if it gets into a firefight shootout, I think he's the faster fighter. But I question if he gets touched cleanly in a firefighted exchange, can his chin hold up to it? That's my main thing.
So how do you see it going?
This is a tough one to call, man. This was a coin flip. I agree with a lot of the things that Dan Hooker was saying. I do think on paper, Beneil Dariush is the better fighter. But it's hard to deny momentum. So with that said, I don't want to say I'm picking Moicano. I like both of them. But if I had to make a pick, I'm leaning towards Beneil Dariush. I do think both of them have questionable chins. Questionable enough. We're not saying questionable like you can't take a shot. But if you get hit cleanly, they don't wear it too well, where the legs look like they go a little bit. Beneil's been knocked out a couple of times at this point. Moicano has been knocked out before viciously against Fiziev. And even with Jalen Turner fight, he got hurt extremely bad and was able to recover and get the takedown and win the fight, get the finish. So with that said, I have to pick Beneil Dariush just based on their track record. I just think he's got the experience. I think he's going to fight smart. This is going to be orthodox versus southpaw. And I think the grappling prowess of Beneil is more than enough. He's a traditional BJJ guy where he has some funk as well. And I think that's going to be a good recipe to combat a guy like Moicano. Moicano's ways to get the fight down to the ground are catching a kick or body locks. I can't see him doing that in terms of catching a body lock, locking it up and reaping the leg of Beneil and taking him down. I just can't really see that happening.
Yeah, no. I feel like Moicano, though, he is kind of like, he's hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's been, it's kind of like, I don't want to, it's definitely not luck. He's definitely the man. But like, it's not like, it's kind of crazy fights and it's been things going his way. Whereas Beneil, I think, has always been at the top of this division for a reason. I think his last fight against Arman was like, you know, he Arman's Arman. But Beneil's still the guy. I think like he's gonna probably, I hate to say it like this, but put Moicano in his place. Unless Moicano's just that hot and his hotness surpasses Beneil's skill, but I don't know.
Hotness. Yeah, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. He got knocked out by Arman in the last one. That was back in December 2nd of 2023. So he took some good time off, and that could be very, very beneficial. And then he also has a TKO loss to Charles Oliveira. So to have two of those devastating losses back-to-back after beating Gamrot in 2022, then 2023, losing 2 fights, Oliveira TKO in round 1, and then round 1 to Arman Shayukian. Like, that's not a good sign, but the time that he's taken off, it does, I think, bode well for someone like him in terms of recovery and being able to have more durability in the fight. It's just whether or not in between his time off, was he doing the right things, taking any type of supplements that can help with the brain recovery, taking time off from sparring, and not taking any trauma to the head, and just being well rested so he could come back, feel fresh, and try to start the year off on the right foot. Because this is a big one for him. If he loses this 3 in a row, a surging, I don't want to say prospect, but a guy who's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-fight win streak, you're on a 2-fight skid, it puts him in a very bad spot if he loses this. So this is a crossing of the guards. Will the prospect, I can't even call him kind of a prospect, but will the young contender come up and take the spot and take the torch from Beneil Dariush? I don't know. I don't see it happening, but again, momentum is a real thing, and crazy things have happened.
How old is Moicano? He's 35. He's not even young.
No. Is he 30? Yeah, he's 35. So both of these guys. But one guy's going up, one guy's kind of going down. Even though he's lost to the 2 hottest guys in Charles Oliveira and Arman, but it's also the way he's lost. So those things have to be considered.
Yeah. Damn, I mean, that just hearing that, I forgot about the Charles knockout. That makes me think, it's 2 in a row is bad.
And both in the first round.
Yeah.
Both
Before that, he was kind of like the boogeyman, bro. Like, not the boogeyman, but like, he seemed like unbeatable,
Who, Dariush?
To me, yeah. I didn't think he was going to lose to anybody. Holland versus the Ritter is another one.
Man, Ritter came over with a lot of hype, 2-division champion from, Ryzen? I mean, he fought Gerald Mershot, GM3. That did not look great. I mean, let's just call it straight what it is. That did not look great. And it's kind of crazy because he beat the guy Anatoly Malakin, however you say his name, over in Russia. But that was his retirement fight. Like I don't know. I'm just at a loss for words, bro. Because like I met him, him and his coaches, great people. But that fight did not scream at me, yo, surging hot prospect, 2-division champion coming to take over the UFC. That did not scream that at all. But he has an opportunity to really shake shit up if he could beat Kevin Holland. But I don't know. And this is at 185. So Kevin Holland's going up in weight again, which I don't like. But again, Kevin has fought here. He's been doing a lot better at 170, in my opinion. He had 2 tough losses to MVP and Jack Della Maddalena. Split decision loss to Maddalena. So I don't know. I wish he would have stayed down. I think better things were happening for him down there. Yeah, I don't know. This is if Ritter could take Holland down, it could be bad for Holland. But the gas tank of Ritter did not look great. Very questionable. If Holland touches him, I think Holland is going to lace him up. I don't know.
Just real quick, I think my camera might overheat. It's showing the thing.
I mean, we're going close to the end anyway. There's a lot of good matchups on this one, so we'll wrap with this. Tagir Ulanbekov, first fight of the night, taking on Clayton Carpenter, who's 8-0 at 125. This kid's 28 years young. Really good, I think, performance on the Contender Series. If I remember, this is the same guy against Luca Rocha. No, that was his UFC debut. On Contenders, that was 2 fights ago. Edgar Chavez, yeah, that was a really good fight. So, yeah, same guy I'm thinking of. Ricky Tercios taking on Bernardo Sopaj, one of Salman's guys. I'm very much looking forward to this. Obviously, Bernardo's the guy who got the flying knee knockout loss last year from the kid Vinicius, where he was winning the fight pretty comfortably and got caught with a nasty knockout. I'm interested to see how he bounces back mentally because the guy can crack. I've heard stories of how hard he hits on the pads. And I can't wait to see this, to see how he does with Ricky Tercios.
That's a big name, too.
Yeah, Ricky Tercios, I met his dad, I think, down in El Salvador, which is pretty cool. But then, I've trained with Bernardo, not like one-on-one or anything like that, but We got a very close mutual friend. So it's this. It's always tough when you meet all these guys, right? Then you got Moeen Gafarov taking on Rinya Nakamura, who's 9-0 Japanese fighter. I'm going with my guy Moeen. Um,
Hell yeah.
this guy's a really good wrestler out of Japan. Who else? Aylin Perez taking on Carol Rosa. Grant Dawson taking on Diego Ferreira, the guy I was talking about earlier. Sergey Spivak
Almeida
taking
versus-
on
yeah.
Jolton Almeida. This card is stacked, bro.
Yeah. That's like that fight could like headline a fight night.
Yeah.
That's a big fight. Like no one's talking about.
And then you got Peyton Tamba.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what he's fighting Ione Barcelos. Didn't Umar knock him out, right?
Yeah.
So is that I almost feel like they're trying to have the same thing happen.
Yeah, Umar knocked him out. Then he lost to Kyler Phillips by decision. Then Christian Quiones, he beat him and submitted him by rear naked choke in the third round. I think that kind of kept him alive in the game. And I guess obviously wanted to keep going forward. What's crazy? He beat Saeed Nurmagomedov, who was surging hot at a point. I don't know what he's doing. He should be fighting soon too. But this is a good fight. I think it's a great opportunity for him to slow down the hype on a prospect, or this is really good for the prospect to come up and shock the world and just show the guys that he's the real deal.
Hell yeah.
Peyton is 9-0. He's 26 years old from Reno, Nevada. There's like no one out of there that I know. He's the only guy, so he's putting Reno on the map.
And he's like, I think like he's like a guy they really want to push. Like they're hot. Like he's got a lot of hype right now.
Yeah, for sure. Nevada guy. I think that's big for Vegas. Big for just Nevada in general. Obviously, he's not from Vegas, but
I think they're trying to like kind of make him another like O'Malley type of guy.
could be.
He's
got the look.
His hands are crazy. Yeah.
He's got the little thing that he does. Whatever
Only problem
that
is like he might be gay. Is the only thing.
And he's got that weird ass black hole tattoo on his back. I don't know what that means, or stomach. It's just a big black circle.
Streets are saying he's gay, bro.
That'd be unfortunate.
I should cut that out, bro.
But he's still a good guy.
He can still kick my ass. That's for sure. Pause.
But I think we're all good on that. So we got some really good fights. Guys, I'm coming out to L.A. on Tuesday. I will be in the city. Where's this fight going to be? Anaheim?
Yeah, I think so.
At the Intuit Arena?
I believe so.
And I'm going to be doing an appearance Friday night at Cork and Barrel. So pull up. We're going to have Funk Harbor sponsoring the day. We're going to have a bunch of Funk Harbor there. We're going to be giving out some samples. It's going to be there for purchase, not the bottle, of course. The liquor, if you want to buy some at the bar, you could do that. But we're going to be giving out some samples. We're going to be taking some photos, some pictures with friends and stuff like that. It's going to be a great time. So I'm super excited for that. Shout out Manny Kess for setting everything up. And my guy from Vegas, also from New York. That's what it is, man. New Yorkers, man, we look out for each other. You know what I mean? That's just what we do. That's just what we do. So thank you appreciate that for the support. And I think myself and Chris Wyman are going to be there. So pull up, come show some love. And we might have a special guest there as well. Maybe a current champion. So I'm not going to give away too many details, but make sure y'all pull up Cork and Barrel. We should have some promotional stuff to put out later this week. And with that said, man, don't forget to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Let's fucking go. Put in the work.
And whatever you do, say no to drugs.
Hits vape.
All right. Thank you guys for the support. See you guys in LA. Hopefully everything gets settled and figured out with these fires. God bless everybody. Prayers for everybody out there who's been affected, man. That's really shitty.
Word.
And what's even shittier is the insurance companies that are just dropping everybody. Once this started, like, how's that even legal?
Bro, that pisses me off actually. Like,
but how is that even legal? We paid insurance. Do your damn job.
Literally, like, this is the one fucking time you gotta have gotta pay, like, and they're like not even, because they're just not gonna do it, and then they're gonna bet on people not having the money to sue them. So it's like
sad. Well,
if I was the insurance company, I'd pay.
sure you would. Nah, they should. They should be. There's no way they can't be held obligated to that. Like, that's just criminal.
There's definitely gonna be like massive class action lawsuits.
Yeah, and then they should sue Gavin Newsom or whatever his name is. What does Trump call him? Gavin Newscum?
He's such a piece of shit. Terrible leader.
He wants to
bro.
save the whatever he was trying to save instead of putting water in the freaking fire hydrants.
Bro, he's such
Like,
a fucking bum,
what?
bro.
Make it make sense, my brother.
All this happening on his watch is crazy.
Yeah,
Fucking.
but-
Thank God Trump got elected. All right.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys after the show.